Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start doing the brake service. We're going to start off with loosening up these 12mm bolts right here. I'm going to take off the brake caliper. So after breaking them loose, you can just remove them by hand. You should be able to remove them pretty easy, just depending on how far the brake pad is worn out. If you can't remove them easy, you could use like a little pry bar, which that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so now that it's off, we're going to put this aside, and then we're going to be loosening these two bolts that hold the bracket. So these are size 17. We're going to break them loose. Completely take them out. So just note that there's this little cotter pin that sometimes won't let you take out, but you can still get your socket on there. You should be able to take it out. Alright, so we're going to completely remove it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the rotor. What we're going to do is remove these two screws. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and remove these screws. Some of them are going to be harder than this, of course. Now we're just going to come out. What I do, if it doesn't come out right away, I put a lug nut on there. And what I'm going to do, since I'm going to replace the rotor, so I'm just going to hit the face of the rotor and it should come out. Give it one quick smack. I like to clean this off. That way hopefully we prevent from that happening again, so the rotor doesn't get stuck the next service. You could use this little fancy tool, or you could use some Scotch-Brite, a little sandpaper. Nothing too fancy, as long as you get to remove that rust out of that tub. And I'm just going to go over it with a rag. Alright, so now to reinstall the rotor, I like to put it back exactly the same way. So you're going to find these two holes aligned to these. And yes, I like to put back the screws back, just not overly tight. It helps by, holding the rotor in place. And then you could put the caliper, that way you don't have to hold the rotor in place. If you don't want to put them back, that's fine. It doesn't really serve its purpose. You can put a lug nut on there, so you can basically put that caliper, and it does the same job. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, if you come over on this side, we're going to push back the piston, but as you can see, this one's a little odd on this one. So you do kind of have to have a special tool on here. So this is a twist type, so we're going to be basically twisting it, and then it's going to be retracting back. It is easier if you open up the brake reservoir cap, just take it off, and it should go in a little bit easier. So this is the tool that we're going to be using. It does have different adapters on here, but this is the one of the tools that will help you out to be able to complete this job. So since it has four notches on there, we're just gonna align it onto the piston here, just like that. We're gonna retract it all the way back, and then in this case we're just gonna turn. And what this tool does, it basically turns and it pushes it again so the piston can retract at the same time. So I have to be constantly doing turning it and securing it at the same time so the piston can retract. So as you can see, I'm turning the knob, turning the notch on this end so it can push back. And we want that piston to be nice and flush. And also, you got to keep in mind, I didn't mention it beforehand, but before we started to retract the piston, we have to make sure, I'm going to retract this back so you guys can see, that one of the notches, doesn't matter which one, has to be perfectly at the window right here, because when you place the brake pad, the back of the brake pad has a little notch on there, and it has to fit perfectly on there. Because if it doesn't, if it goes in here, it's not going to be able to go on properly. So that's our goal right now. We're going to put it back and make sure that aligns to that little window. Okay, I'm going to take it off now. So now that it's kind of flush, now I'm going to go ahead and align it. So right about there, it's aligned right here to the window. But we won't know until basically we put it back on and make sure that this goes directly on over the pads. You'll know. Alright, so just to show you what I was talking about earlier, these are the old brake pads, and you see how that notch is right there, and you can see the imprint of the piston. So it has to be, that gap has to be there so it can go right over it. Alright, so I'm removing the old shims because the new brake pads come with new shims, so we're just going to go ahead and remove them. I like to clean this as best as possible, that way we can install the new ones. So now we're going to go ahead and clean and lubricate the sliding pins. These are crucial. If you don't clean it and lubricate, it can basically cause abnormal brake wear. One side's going to wear out quicker than the other. Why? Because the pins are not sliding the way they're supposed to. So I'm going to clean this. You can go in there and clean it. Use a little brush if you can. If you have one in hand, clean it as best as possible. I already went in there, basically cleaned that in there with a brush. Alright, so after lubricating the sliding pins, just make sure that they slide nice and easy, just the way it is right now. And that should be it. Now we're going to go ahead and install this back onto the car. So we're just going to align it there. Start off by going in by hand. Alright, So now we're just going to secure them. What I like to do, once I know that it's snug, I like to go about half a turn more. So a quarter more, and I know that it's nice and secure. Alright, so now we're going to be installing the brake pads. I did apply a little bit of grease, and only on the ears of the actual brake pad. That way it's not too much, but just enough. But too much, it's just going to cause to have more brake dust, and then it's going to accumulate there, and that's what I believe that causes brake noise. So again, we're going to be installing that pad, and this is a special pad right here. It has a little notch on there. That way when you put that caliper on there, it has to be perfectly on there. So once it's on there, now walk on the side. There are these little holes. We're gonna put there's springs that go on there, and the purpose of those springs is basically to open them up when it's not in use, and when you're applying the brakes, it's just gonna, collapse even more. But with those springs, it's gonna help on there, so it doesn't have that brake wear. On these little shims can be a little tricky, so I start from the top on one side going in. Keep holding the brake pads, or else if you let go of the brake pads, it's just the spring and the pads are just gonna fly off. So just like that. Make sure they're in that hole, and like I said, if I were to let go of the brake pad just a little bit, you can see they start opening up just a little bit. So with one hand, you're going to still keep holding the brake pad. Just going to go over the caliper. And again, if that notch wasn't in place, you wouldn't be able to go in nice and smooth, just like that. Make sure that those springs in there stay in place. I put back these 12mm bolts. Make sure to always go in by hand. So now we're going to secure it. Just note that if the bolt keeps on spinning, there is a nut on the inside. You can hold it. You can use that pliers or the adequate wrench to hold that down. But on my case, I was able to hold down. These are not too tight, just snug. So once it's flush, I just go about a quarter turn. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So now that it's tight, and quarter turn should be it. And then that's how you complete the brake service. Just make sure when you do get in the car, pump the brakes. If for whatever reason that little notch wasn't secure in that perfect spot that I was telling you, the brakes are gonna lock. So just make sure that you're able to go forward and reverse. And that's it.